It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view.
Right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
That's correct.
Sunny Hostin never stops ripping on the cops. View co-host Sunny Hostin says she introduced her son to the police ahead of time so they don't harass him for jogging in her all-white neighborhood.
It started like any normal morning on The View. Bright lights, big smiles, and the hosts ready to talk over each other. But the routine quickly collapsed on live TV. Sunny Hostin leaned in with her usual moral authority, expecting applause. Instead, her comment blew up instantly. Greg Gutfeld hit back first, cool and grinning, followed by Bill Maher, who calmly dismantled her argument piece by piece. Together, they turned the moment into a sharp, funny, and brutal masterclass in televised takedown.
You use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and
migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know, want to call it the super far left?
Okay, so there is Bill just laying out something true. You can see the way Sunny Hostin, the way she's touching her above her eyes, she can't even look at him as she's talking to him because she's an activist, not a journalist or whatever it is that she purports to.
What made the moment brutal was how unprepared Sunny looked. She froze mid-sentence, her face shifting from confidence to panic as she realized the narrative had flipped on live TV. She tried to push through, but it only made the meltdown worse. When she tossed out the word, woke, as a last-minute grenade, it blew up on her instead. The crowd saw it. Her critics saw it. And in that instant, she lost the room completely.
I think a conservative once said to me, what you guys in the liberal side of it don't get about Donald Trump is we don't like him either.
Yeah.
It's just that in this country, it's binary. I mean, gender may not be binary, but politics is. You only get two choices. And the stuff that they are afraid of, they see Donald Trump as a bulwark against, you know? And that stuff is a lot closer to the home. It's like my kid is coming home from school, and they're not allowed to tell me if they're transitioning. The school is going to take the side of the kid over the parent. Stuff like that.
She claimed conservatives had stolen and twisted the word from its black activist roots. But Maher pushed back calmly, showing how the term had decayed into satire, even among its original supporters. The room shifted immediately. Faces tightened, Sunny's co-host shrank, and Greg leaned back with a smug grin. Sensing her argument collapsing, Sunny spiraled into a strange rant about tipping Instacart drivers and buying fire logs, a desperate detour that exposed the weakness of her point. Greg and Bill had seen it all before, and this time, they dismantled the illusion piece by piece.
It's about the view. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like, it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest.
Then came the moment that lit up the internet. Maher didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. One quiet line cut through everything. Don't tell me the left hasn't changed. The room froze. Sunny blinked, stunned, her momentum gone. Maher laid out how the voices once defending truth and free speech had become enforcers of conformity, and the irony hung heavy. Greg jumped in next, calling The View what he believed it had become, a political circus. A hospital for human misfailure, he said, slicing through the tension. Sunny's arguments collapsed into scattered emotion. She couldn't meet Maher's eyes, fidgeting and rubbing her forehead like she wanted to escape, but there was nowhere to go.
We have our own kind of way of demonizing, but we don't do it the way we'll say like
do it tastefully.
Tastefully, I think we're very low key in demonizing people. We'll say you smack of socialists, but we won't call you Hitler. But we go like, but it is nice. I do think it's refreshing that they've moved on from Hitler. They probably had a morning meeting. They probably had like Pol Pot. No, not enough people know who Pol Pot is. Mao, well, he's kind of short. So maybe Mussolini was tall, and that's why they said pint-sized Mussolini. The point is, people have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there.
This wasn't just about Sunny's opinions. It was about how unprepared she was when faced with people who refused to tiptoe around her. The applause never came. The set fell into dead air and nervous glances. Then the tension snapped. Greg delivered a brutal hit. Sunny doesn't form her own opinions. She gets them from her husband. A beat later, she's not very bright. The crowd gasped. Sunny froze. Maher stepped in, not to attack, but to ground the moment. He calmly laid out the reality, and it landed harder than any insult. Sunny tried to retreat into buzzwords, but Greg cut her off again. You're not a journalist. You're an activist pretending to be one. It wasn't a pile-on. It was a reckoning. A clear expose of how shallow and rehearsed The View had become, with Sunny standing as the clearest example.
Can we just understand that part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking to a white person.
View co-host Sunny Hostin says she introduced her son to the police ahead of time so they don't harass him for jogging in her all-white neighborhood. Roll it, Elvis.
As a mother of black children, I know that black boys are not given the presumption of innocence and the presumption of youth. I have had to be in the position where I have gone to my local police department because I know my son is going to be training for the Junior Olympics, running around the neighborhood in an all-white neighborhood, and I have brought him to the police and said, he belongs to me. This is my son. Do not harass.
Just when it seemed the meltdown had peaked, Sunny hit a new level of cringe. She fired off takes like she was auditioning for most out-of-touch commentator, reheated talking points served with a grin, and the confidence of someone who mistakes volume for logic. Her tone turned full motivational speaker. Lots of enthusiasm, zero coherence. Greg and Bill stopped engaging, just watching as her reasoning collapsed. She tossed out dramatic buzzwords, fishing for applause that never came, all while acting like she was winning. Her delivery screamed confidence. Her content was chaos, jumping from brunch stories to systemic injustice to oat milk prices with no thread. Bill gave a patient, almost pitying look. Greg's smirk and raised eyebrows said it all. Then came the jaw-dropper. Sunny claimed nuanced conversation was a form of privilege. Calmly discussing complex issues? Too privileged to get it. Logic inverted, reason under siege. Bill didn't flinch. He countered with one simple line.
Don't tell me the left had...
The super far right.
Well, he's talking about the left. Well, then
Okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed.
She is feeling guilty about being a successful black lady who lives with white people, so she has to play.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Successful slave-owning black woman. Get it right.
Yeah, slave owned. Her ancestors owned slaves. So she has to play up this like, I am a target of oppression, so she can remain on a credentialed level with other.
Reality doesn't require a trauma resume. Maher's line landed. Clean, quiet, final. Sunny froze, blinking like her brain was buffering. Her playbook was exposed. Experiences mattered only if they supported her script. Otherwise, you were ignorant or part of the patriarchy. It wasn't debate. It was control. Her reasoning twisted from indignant to fragile, leaving contradictions dressed as moral clarity. Greg didn't need words. His smirk said it all. Sunny clawed for the high ground, but all she served was empty air. Maher and Gutfeld opened the gift-wrapped argument and found nothing inside.
For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, you know, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and
Sunny came in ready to lecture, but her arguments collapsed fast. Claiming white Republican women vote only as their husbands dictate, she froze the table. It wasn't insight, it was insult. Greg stared. Maher didn't even need to respond. Her comment imploded on its own. She shouted, mistaking emotion for logic, hiding behind buzzwords. Every counterpoint became patriarchy or ignorance. Grocery shopping anecdotes couldn't save her. Maher ended it cleanly. How can you claim open-mindedness while canceling everyone who disagrees? Sunny froze. No comeback. Silence. By the end, she wasn't debating, she was unraveling. Her own argument did the work.